We won't hush again. Oh, you're good.
All righty, we are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, my friends, to Hearst Castle. My name is Tracy, and I'm going to be your guide today for Castle to Coast Kids Virtual Junior Ranger Program. The first 20 minutes of our program today are here at Hearst Castle, this beautiful state park on the central coast of California. And then the last 20 minutes, you'll be heading down the coast about 30-40 miles to hang out with Mariana at Montaña de Oro. I believe that's where you are today, Mariana. And we're going to be nature journaling today. So our program is for ages 7 to 12, but honestly, we invite everyone to join. Nature journaling is amazing. It's fun. And there's a lot of health benefits to it as well. So Hearst Castle behind me is the home of William Randolph Hearst. He lived here when he built between 1920 and 1947. It took him, or 48 actually, it took him 28 years to build his dream home. We do sit on top of a hill overlooking the ocean, and we're gonna hang out in the gardens of Hearst Castle today to nature journal. And we're gonna set up right here in front of what is called Casa del Monte, House of the Mountain, in the gardens. Perfect place for nature journaling. Right this way, I have all of my stuff set up on the steps over here. So I've taken a seat on the steps in front of Casa del Monte, and I'm excited to nature journal with you all today. I have to be honest, I just started nature journaling myself. And when you go online to learn how to do it, you see all kinds of different journals. Everyone has a different look to theirs, and everyone's skill set as an artist varies from someone like me who is not that great at drawing and sketching to people who are wonderful. So you can fall anywhere on that list. Now, nature journaling is all about exploring your surroundings and making observations and writing those observations down on paper. So it's simple. I want to show you that I have just a regular piece of white paper with usually, well, I have some blank ones right there and a pencil. And I'll show you some other supplies that you can gather with you to nature journal. And this is an example where I've recorded my observations from the other day, and I'm going to walk you through us recording our observations, because it's not just the things that we see, it's the things that we hear and the things that we smell and the way that we feel and the way that things look around us. It really gets us in tune to our environment, helps to increase awareness. So I'll put this down just for a moment. You can nature journal anywhere. Maybe you're sitting in your kitchen right now. You don't even have to be outdoors. Is there a bowl of fruit near you? Or do you have a banana next to you? You can nature journal about the banana. Are you on your patio? Maybe you're in your front or backyard. You can nature journal there as well. You don't have to travel far. You can go down to a park or a natural area, a bike path. So there's a variety of places that you can nature journal. And you can record your surroundings with words, with pictures, with symbols, numbers, bullet points. There's all kinds of ways to record your surroundings. And all you need is a piece of paper and a pencil. But if you wanted to add some material, do you know what these are called? Binoculars. You can have binoculars. You could see far away. Do you like birds? I do, but I can never identify them unless I have a guide. So you can have a bird guide, or you can have a plant guide, a guidebook, field guide. You can have a ruler to measure things. I brought out 50 colored pencils right here, but you don't even need all of that. Crayons work, chalk, that sort of thing works as well. So you can decorate, and we could do some rubbings. I'll go over that in a second. But I'm just going to start off really simple. And we're going to start with a pencil and a piece of paper. Now I know my past journal is quite busy, but I have a rubbing right here of some tile art, and I have a rubbing over a oak leaf. Let's see. I've also counted how many times I've heard a bird make its beautiful sound. So there's a variety of ways you could do this, and you can see mine looks kind of messy. So I'm not an artist, but it's my recordings and my journal entry. So I'm going to start with a blank piece of paper. If you're outside, remember to put on your sunscreen. I did that this morning. Maybe have some water. Find a quiet place if possible, and have a comfortable seat. And perhaps start off by closing your eyes. Closing your eyes and take a deep breath and exhale, and relaxing your body. How does that feel? How do you feel to start off with? Well, on your piece of paper, let's record the date. Well, it's Tuesday. I have to look at the date, quite honestly. It's July 28th, and this can be done anywhere on your paper. July 28th. Now, what you can do is you can follow along and nature journal what you see on your computer screen, what we're looking at here at Hearst Castle, or you could do something in your own home. Maybe you have connection outside. You can do it on your patio. You can watch in the nature journal later in the day. Let's see, it's about 10:06. So let's get creative. Let's get curious. What is the weather like? Let's start by recording the weather. Here at Hearst Castle, well, it's sunny. We can see the sun coming over the two towers. Sun coming over two towers. I'm going to write that down because that's kind of like a poem. So you can include poetry. Over two bell towers. It's quite calm here with a bright blue sky. What is the sky like where you live? When I was driving to work, I was driving along the Pacific Ocean because Hearst Castle is right near the ocean. And there was a whole cloud coverage, a whole cloud bank over the beaches. So on my way to work, it was quite cloudy. And then when I got up here to the top of the hill where Hearst Castle is, the sun was out, which is great because when the sun it comes out, so do the birds and the bees and the butterflies and the moths. So we might see those today on this plant. What do you notice when you look around you? What is the first thing that you observe? I see a lot of greenery here. So I'm going to write greenery, and I'm going to look at this scene, and I'm going to pick out the various colors that I see. I see a peach rose. And I'm going to try and draw that peach rose just for you all to show you that you don't have to be an artist to nature journal. You can just draw your interpretation. And let's take a color. I see a peach type color here. I know this is my drawing. Does anyone else draw like me, or maybe you're a little bit better? And I see a purple array. Now this bush looks rather wild. And since I'm not the best at sketching and drawing, I'm going to put the word wild to remind me of what this looks like. And I know this is called Escallonia. Can you say that with me? Escallonia. So the wild Escallonia. And how would you draw something that looks wild? Well, I see the way the stems come out in many different directions. So I'm just going to draw stems in all kinds of directions. I have a green marker here. So I'm going to trace them. You might want to draw something with a pencil and then come back with a marker later. And these flowers of the Escallonia are fine and delicate. So I'm going to write that. So you can write down what it looks like if you feel like you cannot draw it, or do your best like I'm doing. So I'm just going to draw some circles around the top of my wild Escallonia stem. Let's see if I can find that purple. There it is. Well, it's blue, which is good enough for me. So do you see my wild Escallonia stem here? My friends. 1, 2, 3 bees. That is something that I definitely want to incorporate in my nature journal. Because as I observe my surroundings, I see the flowers, and then I see the flowers attracting bees. I'm going to write bees over here, and then I'm going to write bird calls. So as soon as I hear a bird call, I'll put a little notch. And if you have any questions, nature journals are the perfect place to put down a question. So I'm going to ask, why are the bees attracted to the purple bush more than the rose? Little question mark and a nice question. Could it be perhaps that the Escallonia smells really good? Now, there's no one around right now. By the way, Hearst Castle is closed to the public during the COVID pandemic, and we sure do miss you all. We're usually swarming with lots of people. So this is your only way to get your tour of Hearst Castle. So I'm going to go ahead and just smell the flower for scientific purposes. Part of the observation. One of my favorite flowers at Hearst Castle. To me, it smells like vanilla cake. Does anyone like vanilla cake out there? And I'm going to write that in. So as you can see so far, my nature journal is coming along. And another way to record, you can do rubbings. So let's start. Maybe you have a garden at home and it's decorated with different mosaics or tiles or wind chimes, decorations in the garden. And here at the Gardens of Hearst Castle, we have these colorful tiles. So I like to do these rubbings with 2 colors, and I'm going to set my paper down on top of it. I'm using colored pencils, but if you have a crayon, that would work really well. And what you could do is peel off the paper of the crayon and use it on its side, like so. Since I just have the pencils, we're going to use the tip of the pencil, not the very tip, but the side of it. And I'm just going to start coloring over it. And I picked pink. So what did I put my piece of paper over? What is under this tile? It's starting to reveal itself. And as you can see, I'm going up and down, but now I'm going to go diagonal because I really want to fill out this rubbing. Ooh, it's really coming to life. That is the neat thing about doing this. Ooh, okay. So now I've got the blue over the pink, which is really going to make it pop. It's a dragon. How fantastic and whimsical is it that there is a dragon tile right here? Okay, so maybe you don't have dragon tiles at home, but I bet if you went out in your backyard, you could find a leaf. Let's see. I found this leaf right here. Is anyone good at drawing leaves? Well, I wouldn't suggest pulling fresh leaves or flowers off of a plant, but if you find something on the ground, you could simply tape it to your nature journal entry. I'm going to put it under the paper. So this leaf is put down. I'm putting the leaf under the paper. And I'm going to let's take a new color. orange, burnt orange. And I'm going to do the rubbing. So the side of my colored pencil, not the tip. Let's see how I could show you this. There we go. I'm going to smush it down a little bit and go over it. I hope you can see this. I understand there might be a glare from the sun. So underneath my paper, I have put the oak leaf. There we go. I'm going to set that off to the side. There. Do you see how the oak leaf came through? So it's just like I drew it myself. And what do I notice? We want to write and look. What do we observe about the oak leaf? Well, it was tiny. It was brown. I'm going to write that down. It had many veins coming up from the center out to the side. There was 1, 2, and this is how you can use numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 veins that I counted in the leaf. And I noticed on one side it was very smooth, but on the other side there was some texture. I wouldn't say it was rough, but I would say bumpy. So we've done a rubbing of an oak leaf. I'm going to write oak. The native oak trees in the area are quite beautiful. They keep their leaves on their tree all throughout the year. We did an etching. Oh, it goes this way. Of a dragon. We wrote down that we saw 3 bees. Wait, do we hear anything? Do we hear any birds right now? I hear a saw. I hear someone doing work in the background. We wrote down the date, the time, and the temperature. And I'm going to write down how I feel right now after we did 10 minutes of nature journaling. Do you feel any different? I'm going to say that I feel happy and calm from spending time observing my surroundings and exploring my work backyard. I'm so happy to work here at this beautiful state park at Hearst Castle. And I'm really excited to send you all along to hang out with Mariana at Morro Bay State Park and continue nature journaling. Thank you for joining me today.
Why, hello, everyone. That was awesome, Stacy. I learned a lot about nature journaling from you and how we can use art as a way to see our surroundings. I am currently at Montaña de Oro State Park, and my name is Mariana, and I am also an interpreter for California State Park. So both Tracy and I work for this symbol on my hat. And I am in public, so I'm wearing my mask to protect myself and others. There's currently no one around me, so I'm going to give you a quick smile so you have an idea of what I look like. And now the mask goes on. All right, nice and snug. And we're going to do some nature sketching outdoors in our park. But before we get started, I thought I would take you on a short nature walk to give you an idea of the space that I'm walking through and that we will be nature sketching. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Awesome. This is my view. Amazing, right? Montaña de Oro State Park became a state park in about 1965, and it is one of the largest state parks. There's a few thousand acres of land, And it includes 7 miles of California's beautiful central coastline. Pretty amazing. I see this plant everywhere, and is one of my favorite plants. The scientific name is known as Artemisia Californica. Really hard word to pronounce, so I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Artemisia Californica. I think it's pretty cool. This is also known as California sagebrush, and it smells really good. Using some of those observation skills that Tracy said, I'm going to take the time to smell it. I'm going to smell this plant. Ooh, it smells wonderful. And honestly, if you take your fingers and you rub a little bit, and then you smell your fingers, you can really get that scent. In fact, one of the common known names is cowboy cologne. Pretty cool because it smells so good that people used to rub it. Ooh, there's a bird. I believe that's a turkey vulture. Whoa. We got a cool wildlife sighting. Some of the cool things that we can talk about in our journal once we get to that point. But using observation skills like touch, smell, eyesight, hearing, those are great ways to get to know our surroundings. Take us back out into the scenery. There we go. Let's check out some of the water. Wow, it is a beautiful day. Overcast and cloudy, but still nice. The water's pretty clear, teal almost. I can hear some birds far in the distance. I can't see any from here, so I wonder what type of bird it could be. All right. Let's continue our walk. So here's more of that plant that I said smells really good. Cowboy cologne, also known as California sagebrush. There's some dried up plants over here that usually they are bright yellow, but their color has gone away. But I think their leaves are super cool. We try to get a good glimpse. Here's some of that yellow color. And here's what the leaves look like. And if I touch it, the leaves are kind of fuzzy. Interesting. And if I flip it over, the color changes. It goes white. What an interesting observation. I wonder why that happens. Really cool. This plant is known as lizard tail. I think the leaf kind of looks like a lizard tail. What do you think? Ooh, some yellow flowers. This is black mustard. Just really taking the time to get to know your surroundings, I think is pretty awesome. Being one with nature. Being mindful and respectful of the space that you're in. Look at, there's a western gull. I'm sure many of you know this bird as a seagull. It's a type of gull, and it lives by the sea. So it makes sense why we would call it a seagull. But its name is the western gull. And this plant is also lizard tail right here. It's a little bit dried up. Getting that view. Making sure that I'm staying on the trail to minimize disturbance. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the phone on the tripod so you can see me nature journal. And we can talk about some of the things that we just saw, how we're feeling, making sure that the phone stays on. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I'm actually sitting on a bench that faces the beautiful Pacific Ocean. What a view. And I have some paper to quickly find my pen. But so I have just like a normal journal, and I've used this for a few nature journaling adventures. And that includes talking about just writing, didn't even draw really much, just kind of wrote about my observations, what I saw, how I felt, learned about seeds and reptiles that I saw. And you can fill this up with whatever type of observations you make, or maybe how your day was feeling. I have a blank page, so I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera so it faces me. Okay. Okay. So I have a nice clean page. I'm sitting on a bench facing the Pacific Ocean. It's a beautiful day, and I'm going to start off with just writing what today is. It's July 8th, 2020. I always like to put the time, so like 10:30 a.m., just so I have an idea of what part of the day I was in, because when you go out into nature, depending on the time, is the type of observations that you're going to experience, right? If you think about in the morning, at least here on the Central Coast, it tends to be cloudy, misty, gloomy in a way. But if I come back in a few hours, the sky might clear up. I might see the sun, get warm. So totally different experience. But for right now, we're here in the morning, so I'm going to go ahead and say that it's 10:30, and I'm going to talk about the weather. That's my first observation that I'm making while I am nature sketching. I'm just going to say that it is cloudy, overcast. Usually in Montaña de Oro State Park, it's very windy, but right now I only feel a slight wind, which is nice. So I'm going to write that. Slight wind. Have a salty breeze. I like that word. And you can be as descriptive as you want. As I wrote salty breeze, because I'm near the ocean, I feel like I can almost taste the salt. And I actually am going to write, what else do I see right now? Well, I have the Pacific Ocean in front of me, so I'm going to go ahead and maybe write that. I'm going to write down my location. So I'm going to write down that I'm in Montaña de Oro Park. I'm on the Bluff Trail. So that way I know if I ever want to come back to do another nature sketching on this trail, I can come back to this day and see what I saw today versus what I might see on a different day. So Bluff Trail, I'm sitting on a bench, overlooking the water. I also mentioned that the water is pretty clear, but that's kind of how I usually start off my nature sketching, just kind of describing what's happening right at this moment. There's also another western gull flying by. Pretty amazing. And I talk about the location and the time. So that's usually how I begin. So it's a little small. And for my nature sketching, you can pick a specific type of plant, animal, but for me, I'm just going to draw out the landscape that I see. And I currently just have a piece of paper and pen. I don't have any colors with me or a pencil. So instead of coloring it out, I'm going to actually write down the colors that I see and try to use very descriptive words. So when I go back, I can remember what it was like to sit here at 10:30 in the morning. Okay, so for me, I like to do light sketches. So in front of me, I have a cliff, and it's kind of bumpy. I see that there are a lot of rocks. I wonder how those rocks were formed. It'd be kind of cool to learn more about that. The cool thing about nature sketching is that it gets you more curious. And you can go home afterwards and color in your artwork. You can do your own research about the area and write it down in your nature journal as well. Learn about the history of where you've been. So I see that the top portions is filled with grass. So I'm just gonna include a little bit of grass on the top portions. And then I noticed that there seems to be more scrubs on the cliffside facing the ocean. I'm gonna draw more bushy scrubs. You can take as long as you would like, be as precise in your drawings. And I am by no means an artist. I just love to use art as a way to get a better experience of where I've been. So I don't really have colors, like I said, just using a pen, kind of sketching out some of the things that I'm seeing. But I'm going to write down that I noticed that there's more grass on the top of the mountains compared to the mountainside that is facing the water. So I'm just going to write that on the top. So I wrote more grass towards the flat upper side of hills. And then more scrubs, scrub-like bushes. On side facing water. And then I see some really cool rock formations. I'm going to include that. I bet you there's some amazing tide pools over there. Definitely have to check that out. I have a hard time drawing this out. I think it looks amazing, and I wish I could draw a picture of how it looks like exactly, but I think I'm doing an all right job sketching it out. So I think that's a type of shale rock. I'm not sure. No, my drawing's a little bit far. So I'm going to write down that. I think shale rock. So I'm going to write down shale rock, question mark. and then talk about how there might be some potential tide pools. And it has a lot of lines in the rocks. I wonder why that is. And I'm gonna move this so you can see it. So right now I just drew this portion right here. So I had the cliff, and then you can see that there's some rocks right underneath it that have a whole bunch of lines. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I can definitely go back and learn more. And here, look at this rock that's right near me. A really cool geologic formation. So I drew that and I talked about it. And I'm also going to talk about how there's water in between me and this part. And that the water was teal. Ooh, didn't realize you're so close. Teal and clear. Teal, clear, near the beach. And then dark blue further out. Dark blue, kind of gray almost, reflecting from the sky maybe? Dark blue, gray, farther out. So it's kind of how my drawing, my sketch is looking like. And I have words in mind, and I can go back after this and color it in. But I now know what some of the colors are because I'm writing it down in my journal. And that's kind of how I usually do my nature sketching. And sometimes I like to just pick one specific type of organism. I'll choose one plant and I'll really sketch it out and talk about the colors, look at the petals and the leaves, and try to find out what type of plant it is. But that's how I do some of my nature sketching. And I know that Tracy and I would love to see some of your awesome nature sketches. So if you feel comfortable, please share with us your nature sketches by posting it on your social media and using the hashtag Castle to Coast Kids. I am so thrilled that I got to be here with you today on this amazing Tuesday morning to do some nature sketching. And you got to check out Hearst Castle. That's really exciting. A cool opportunity to do a virtual tour of Hearst Castle. We got to see a turkey vulture, western gull here, and got to look at some of the plants that you might find in our coastal state park, Montaña de Oro State Park. That's it for today. I hope that you have a lovely Tuesday, and tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. again to learn what an MPA is with interpreter Robin. I guess you have to tune in to find out what MPA stands for. All right, but have a lovely rest of your day and hope to see you soon.